Welcome in, welcome in, welcome to the Wild Bohr Show. Welcome, welcome. I'm Chris the Wild Bohr. Today I have a very special guest. I have a friend, another community stalwart. Eric Seidel is here.
Good to see you, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, man, this is awesome. What a great backdrop. We are here at Eric and Amber's home. I won't give you the address, but I will tell you we are at the top of the bay in Oldsmar.
If you look over to the corner, you can see the Orioles Pier. Everybody already knows where I live anyhow. When you're mayor, there's, when people are driving by slow, they're not always admiring your house like, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one we're going to burn down next weekend.
Are you worried if you see tinted glass windows drop down, right?
Yeah, not so much anymore.
Lasers.
Not anymore.
Wait, then what is that red light? What is going on there? Oh, boy. Hey, that's on my nose. Oh, my goodness. Folks, this guy's awesome, just like all the guests that we've had on the Wild Bohr Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to let him just kind of run with it in a minute, but I want to brag about him for a minute or two, and I'm not sure where to start, all right? I think I'll start with he's my friend, right? So then we'll go to what he's done in this community, and then we'll support that with some of the other great accomplishments that you had. So it's weird when somebody brags about you. It's that uncomfortable feeling like every year when it's your birthday and they sing happy birthday and you don't know what to do for 45 seconds. So,
and everyone hands you a gift and you're like,
thank you.
This feels kind of odd.
Yeah.
And then when you get something, you open up and you really don't like it, and then you can't even fake it.
Yeah.
You're like,
thank you. It's the thought that counts. Next time, think about a gift card. Folks, Eric Seidel, my gosh, he's a current board member of the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce. He was the Oldsmar mayor from March 2019 to 2022. He served on the city council from 2007 to 2009. He was on the firefighters pension board from 2012. You're still a board member there. And wow, keep going. The Oldsmar Downtown Market Square Community Review Committee 2014, the Board of Adjustments. Did you work with Mom on Board of Adjustments? How about that?
Well, no, she wasn't on Board of Adjustments.
She was on appeals.
Appeals.
Appeals. You were on adjustments. She was on appeals. Yep. And Dad was Parks and Rec, I think. Yep. So very cool. All right, we keep going. And then neat stuff. So you again on the executive board of directors for the Oldsmar Chamber, which everybody knows now. We call it the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber. We'll talk about that one of these days. I wish Mark Howe was a little bit more camera centric. That's not his thing.
That's not his thing.
That's why he's got Jerry and Beavis and you and me and whatever else. Okay. But then listen, this is awesome. You were actually involved in the JCs.
Yes.
To a point that you took it from here to here to here. You were president of Florida, the Florida JCs.
I was a local chapter president. I grew up down in Miami.
Yep.
And so I was a local president down there. And for me, it was a big transition because I'm not a guy who went to college. Most people don't realize that. I didn't go to college. When I got out of high school, which was under the barely category, I was a construction worker.
Okay.
I was an iron worker. I was a roughneck. People don't look at me and see that. They go, really?
How about that?
Yeah. And so I worked up in the air and buildings in downtown Miami. And
you speak Spanish?
I used to speak more Spanish. I just haven't used it. Poquito español.
Sí.
And then I had a little fall, with just 2 stories.
Only 2.
Not enough to kill you, but enough to knock sense in you and say, I don't think this construction thing's working out too well for me. And I went into sales, and then I got involved. Somebody asked me to join the JCs. Totally changed my life through volunteerism, and then I went on to state offices, state president, was state march #1, and had a great time. Went on to be a national vice president, traveled America, been to every state in America, was national president, and traveled to just about every continent. And been, I think, now to about 18 different countries.
God bless you.
All when I was before 39,
that's
right?
Awesome.
Because that's kind of one of those things. So it builds a foundation. And your father and I have that connection because he was a JC.
Yeah, and so anybody that's tuning in, yours included, because I never got a true explanation. What is the JCs?
It's the Junior Chamber of Commerce, and today they're called JCI USA. And because they kind of align with the international organization. But it is a leadership training organization for young adults from 18 to 39. And, the whole premise is you take on projects in the community. You have a team of people who are volunteers who work with you. You learn, you make mistakes, and you learn from them, and you learn how to lead hands-on. And it ends up being where, you go from the student to the teacher.
Okay.
And the longer you're in the organization. So anyhow, it's a great opportunity for young people to get involved in their community. And if it's not the JCs, I always say this to people: if you want an opportunity in management, volunteer.
Sure.
Jump in,
Agreed.
Volunteer, because your on-hands experiences, you just can't get that And if you're not getting it where you work, you go do this for a while, and guess what? You won't work there anymore. Because you will make connections and you'll realize this isn't enough for me.
Yep.
You know, if it is to be, it's up to me. I mean, that's kind of the way it goes.
All right, so the JCs is the Eagle Scouts for grown-ups.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, got that. I get it.
Yeah.
And you know what? You just brought up a good point. And again, we're very community-centric because I just love my community. I love giving back. Love doing all these other cool things. I say you really don't know somebody until you wreck a pair of sneakers pouring beer next to them for 5 hours at a festival.
100%. And you want to talk about networking, right? And
working, not netting, just working.
Yeah, just the working. Yeah, I mean that's hands-on. Those folks become your friends.
Yeah.
You know, they're the people. It's in high school you have these friends, but the people that you network volunteering with and getting your hands dirty, those are the people who will be at your funeral. I mean, that's a fact.
Yep.
If you stop and think about it, it's really important. And at the end of the day, it builds a great community.
I love it. I got to go get some prettier people then to network with. Because I want my funeral to be pretty. I want there to be a lot of pretty people there.
I'll be there so you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Well, you're assuming a lot. I realize you're only 35. But...
Well, you know, I'm never dying. I'll just,
No, you are unbreakable. This guy
Keith Richards will be the only one, two left, you know.
You just said he fell out of a 2-story building in Miami. Don't forget he broke his neck a few years ago.
When I was on council.
Good night, man. You are unbreakable. This went away. I was still bragging about you. We can just get back to it. So, all right. So now I like the story about how you got into council. It's a little emotional for me, but let's talk about that for a second.
Sure.
So you were in a culture. And the culture was, of course, the JCs.
Right.
And you used to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, I was a smoker. I was a big smoker, yeah.
Back then, that was kind of like...
It was a thing, you know. And your dad and I got to know each other. And then I ran for council. It's funny, I lost my very first race and my very last race. And there's about a decade of time in between both, right?
Okay.
And so where I served. And your dad and I got to know each other. He was one of the people I talked to when I was thinking about running. And, the second go round, I got elected and I wasn't opposed. So I got in early, right? And then sadly, tragically, Don passed away.
Yep.
And so then the council came to Mayor Beaverland, asked me if I would step in early and fill the remainder of his term.
How about that? Yep. So Dad died on Christmas Eve in 2016, and I'm sure you remember this, but he was running for mayor because he was going to live it out. And the strangest thing in the world was they had so much in common. He respected Jim so much, and I think it was mutual. And so yeah, but no. You talk about winning your first or losing your first and losing your last. Him too.
Yeah.
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 So,
well,
yeah,
it's good though. You know, I mean, look. I still love this community. The elections and all that, they're always kind of rough to go through. But you know why? Because people here are so passionate about it.
Sure, there's a lot to be passionate about.
And it's great. And there's no other place I'd live. We've been up in North Carolina a lot, helping with our grandbabies.
How's it going?
It's good. You know, the one, and most of the people know, because I've been pretty open about it. She was born with her left side of her heart did not develop. And she spent the first 7 months in the hospital. And she's now, I'm happy to say, been out of the hospital for almost 3 months. Yeah. And so we're spending a lot of time up there helping with the twins. And so it's been good. You know, I mean, it's good to be able to be in a position to do that. Both Amber and I are enjoying time up there, but it's up in Wake Forest, North Carolina. We have a home up there as well. But this is home.
Buddy,
this is home, and it always will be. I shared this before, I think, but Beaverland asked me why did I get involved in politics, and I said, well, I've been all over. This is the place I'm going to die at, and but hopefully it's a little later.
I'll be at your funeral.
My friends, that was good coming back around. I like that.
All back together again. So we talked a little bit about your JCs, talk about your community involvement, the things that we love about Oldsmar, which the Wild Bohr show should just be like the Wild Bohr Oldsmar show. But you also started a company that was very successful called WebEst.
Yeah.
And tell me what WebEst did and the transition and
a
little bit about that.
Well, I when I first moved to Oldsmar, I moved the company that I was CEO of. It was a publicly traded company. weren't huge, but we ended up, when I left, we had about 140 employees, right? And I didn't own enough of it. It was the hardest job I ever loved.
The
Right?
hardest job you ever
But
loved,
I
I like
literally
that.
slept at the office so many times. I was single at the time, and that was everything. And I left there, and my now wife, we started a company called WebEst, and we didn't start it from scratch. We essentially bought it and invested in it, and ended up taking it over in the whole 9 yards. And we ran it for about 13 years. It provided collision estimating software to body shops. And real quick, that is a data-intensive business if you think about it. So if you had a car accident, you went to one of our customers, they could take our software, they could take their phone, scan your VIN, it pulls up your car, they could point click to the damage areas, and it tells them the part price for the region, the labor time it should take, and it's data-intensive because you got to have every part, it's constantly changing, new makes, models. And so we did that, and when we sold the company about 2 years ago, we had about 14% of all the body shops in the United States use our software.
It's a good number.
Not too bad.
That's a good number.
Thousands and thousands of customers, and so we sold it to a big equity fund out of New York, and retired.
God bless you.
And here's the funny thing: had I still been mayor,
yeah,
I probably would not have sold that.
Interesting.
Because I just let the company run on autopilot. My oldest son was running it at that point, and I was, still doing strategy and that kind of stuff. But then, I had time. I had time to really focus on it, and we had offers prior, and then when we sold it for about 20%, almost 25% more than what our last offer was. And so it was really, it was a blessing. Right?
Yeah, we'll take that. And look at how that has given you the opportunity now to be with your granddaughter's name. What's her name?
Brooklyn is the one who's got the health challenge, and Avery
Brooklyn
is doing fine. She's a joy,
Yep.
both of them. And my daughter and son-in-law, he works for the sheriff's department up there. And so it's, where they now live like 3 blocks from us, which is good most of the time.
Most of the
time. we do have a text rule with each other. Like, don't just show up.
Yeah.
You got to text first. But no, it's been really a blessing to be able to be up there. And this is a great place for me to say this, and I'm gonna probably go to a council meeting and say this. I am reminded why I love this town, because like I said, I've been pretty open about it, communicating online and that kind of stuff. And every time I'm home, I run into people who ask me, people I haven't seen in a while, right? People maybe I wasn't super close with, but people who knew me from being on council and being mayor. And it didn't matter whether they were big fans of mine or not. They always ask me by name, how's Brooklyn? Right? We're praying for her. And messages I get online from people in our community who have said that. And the prayers matter. And
I agree.
It's just, I get reminded why this is the place to be.
It is the
It's
place
the people
to be.
who live here. So
do you know who else just said that recently? Okay, and there's a thank you for sharing,
no.
and a shout out for Brooklyn. Keep trooping. She's doing great from what I've learned and heard from you. So keep fighting, kiddo. Katie Gannon said the same thing the other day. We had her on, and she just said it's the people. It is the people. It is. Hey, listen, the place isn't bad either, right? Listen, if you don't know where we are, and you're watching this in Montana or somewhere, when you think about Florida, here's the states, right? This little thumb that hangs off in the middle. This is Pinellas County. So you got St. Pete is here, Tampa's here. Okay, this is Tampa Bay. We are right now we're probably right here. Right here. Okay, so that's where we are. So it's a great location, and we know a little bit about the history. We ran some olds in 1916, I believe it was. Came out here. We bought like 35,000 acres, and it sat forever because a hurricane came through. We had one last year, and we talked about the community coming together to get us out of that abyss and that heck that we went through in 2 storms in a 2-week period. Unbelievable. But everybody, neighbors being neighbors.
Yeah. And listen, in our city manager and our mayor Gannon.
Yep.
Man, what great leadership at a time when we needed it, right? I mean, I'm just the job that they did, and the council, all of them up there. I'm a huge fan of this council. Everybody up there, and they did such a great job in leadership. And here's Gannon. I come down because we were up there, and I'm going to work on someone's house, and And I put it online because it was Dave Wallace's house, because his health's been challenged a little bit. They got stuck up in North Carolina, and we got a whole army shows up because of all the stuff that Dave's done over the years. And somebody asked me online, hey, what should I bring? And I'm like, oh, just show up with gloves. And all of a sudden, Gannon pipes in and goes, no, you need this, you need this, you need this. And I'm like, that's my woman right there. Oh, God, that's my mayor.
She did.
And she's up there knocking down, right now I'm like my own crowbar, and I'm like, I got a bat, I got nothing.
People that haven't been through this storm, you don't realize. So there's so many different phases, right? It's kind of like the phases of grief. But you don't have time to grieve because you got to get to work. You got to get it done right then and there. I mean, I think I pretty much sat on a cooler for about 14 hours going, wow, this is a mess.
Right. You just scratch your head. You're like,
where do you start? Right? So, all right, let's circle back here. So thank you very much for swinging by. I do appreciate that. I know you've been watching some of the episodes online. When you talk about what you did with WebEst and some of your story, what advice do you give somebody who is thinking about taking the world on their own, this gig economy that we live in? Is there anything today that you could impart on them that might be thinking about a career change, or maybe they want to pursue a dream or a goal? I mean, you talked about sleeping in your office and doing all that other stuff. It's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, and it's a big commitment. There's probably two things I would say. First off, and I'm now a partner in a startup company just because I can't help myself, right? Called Bridgeworks AI, right? And so I'm not plugging the company. My point is, I would say to people, if you're thinking about career change, dig into AI. And that doesn't necessarily mean change your profession. It means how you can be a leader in making AI advance your profession.
Interesting.
Right? So you don't have to switch what you're passionate about, if you're passionate about it. But there are a lot of people who say, look, AI is going to replace everybody. And maybe that happens one day. But there's a bridge between here and there, and that is you're going to have employees who know how to use AI, and you're going to have employees who don't know how to use AI. And the ones who don't know how to use AI, they're going to be out of a job.
They're falling out of buildings.
That's it. I mean, they're falling off the side of buildings, And the other part, if you're going to go out on your own, here's the thing. Plan not to get paid for 2 years. Plan that way. How do you do that?
That's the hardest pill to swallow.
Cut, and do everything you've got to do. But understand that that's probably what it takes. And you have to work every single day. There's never an excuse. If it is to be, it's up to me, has got to be your motto. And you got to stay committed to it. And, great communications is not always speaking, it's listening too.
So when you hit the valleys, because you did, when you just said what you did, listen, you wake up one day and you go, because before Christopher came into our lives, we would work every single day. And we had the auction business, and you could see it happening, but you didn't have time to really watch it happening. Of course, that happened and everything pivoted, but there were definitely some low times.
Yeah.
There were times where you're like, we just had the most successful auction we've ever had, and now we have to ship 640 packages, and it's she and me.
Right, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it's baby steps, but you should be able to, if you really are committed and you work that hard and you don't make any excuses. Look, it's easy to find mentors who can give you advice on how to do things the right way.
They want to, don't they?
They do. They want to talk. It's hard to take their advice and actually do it. It's discipline. And so I know a lot of great entrepreneurs who have been very successful because they've done just that. And I know a lot of really smart people who could not stay committed and they didn't make it.
I call it getting stuck in your butt tracks.
Yeah.
But stop making butt tracks.
Yeah, there you go. That's great.
Stop making butt tracks. And I think about the eye on the prize. And the prize sometimes seems like it's here if you have it clearly defined. And you need to do that. I believe you need to do that. You got to figure out what your goal is. Why are you doing this? And then sometimes it just seems like it just moves back, right?
Right.
So you're 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, but you really, really, really could be to that tipping point, right? Malcolm Gladwell that wrote that book, The Tipping Point? Yeah, bam, you're this close. Don't give up.
Don't give up and be audacious about what you want to get done, right? I mean, if you start there, I've told many leaders this, and it's the same with running a business, right? It's like my whole goal when I was in elected office or when I was running the company or whatever the case might be in a leadership role, I never approach it by saying, I'm going to leave it better than the way I found it. I always try to approach it by saying, I'm going to leave it the best it can be.
I like that.
Because there's a big difference between the two almost always.
How
And you-
about that?
And you go attack it that way, and you may not, you may not hit the moon, but you land on a star, which
I like that one too.
doesn't stink.
My guest today, Eric Seidel, once a mayor, always a mayor, said Beavis. So I don't know how we're doing on time. I just want to remind you we got a few minutes. We're good. So not only is a great community person with a great story, but a hell of a business leader, and he's sharing some advice with you. And I realized the demographics, it's interesting, the analytics that we have. YouTube is a phenomenal thing, friends. And it's really interesting to see. I figured we'd have a whole bunch of 50-plus people. As far as age is concerned, it's as low as 18 years old, and it's as high as almost 80.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting group that we're talking to. So wherever you are in life, if you're going through some of that, that's some fantastic advice and wisdom. I try to think this, like there's competition and then there's enemies in business. You know who the competition is? The enemy is usually you.
Yeah.
The enemy is usually yourself.
Yeah.
You get in your own damn way. Don't we do that?
Yeah.
I have ADHD to a point that, they call it ADHD damn. Like,
right.
Oh, fan. So, but if I can get myself focused, walk away, step away, take a deep breath, come back and go, people aren't trying to hurt you.
Right. And the other part of that is sometimes you can get consumed by what your competitor's doing, right? I mean, it's good to know what your competitor's doing, but don't be your competitor. But I'll tell you a great story. In our space, in the estimatic space, there were 5 companies originally in the United States because it's very hard to secure all the data.
I'm
right?
sure.
And 2 of them were small ones. We were one of the small ones. And the other 3 were huge ones. I mean, these are $100 million companies, okay? Now they're valued, I just saw one of them is valued at $3 billion now, right? So in any event, so we're small companies. I bought the other small company, right, along the way. And so now we're a little bit bigger. And one of the big guys came to us and they wanted to acquire us. And so we met and had a good meeting. And he goes, how do you guys stack up against what we're doing? And I said, I quit following what you were doing a long time ago.
Love it.
I said, you know what? We're not the same. You've got hundreds of employees. I've got 20. We're just not the same. So I don't know what you're doing. I'll tell you what I do is I make sure that our customers know that if they have a problem, we are on the spot, no matter what. I mean, it's just like worship that customer and they will be loyal. And we built a big following that way with smaller body shops. And so my point to that story is don't get too consumed by what your competitor's doing. Get consumed by what you want to be.
Certainly.
Where you want to get to.
Great advice. Great advice.
And you'll create your own path.
We live in a world, everything's instant now, right? So if you are communicating with somebody in business and all of a sudden they don't communicate with you for 24 hours or 48 hours, what goes through your mind? They're ghosting me.
Yeah, it's not that they're busy.
No.
It's like, I sent them an email. I haven't heard back from them.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What is going on? So I always say it's lost in email C, but it is crazy to think about. A simple message to me is, got your text, I'll get back to you when I can. Give you a couple days, whatever. That way, if they call me in 2 days or 1 day, like, oh, they got back to me sooner than they said they were going to.
Well, and here's the other thing about that, right? And here's where I look at AI as a way to execute that for you.
Okay.
So what our company does, we help small to mid-sized companies migrate from a legacy process that they're doing now to using AI tools in their business.
Okay.
That we go through with this model. They can put in all of what they do, and it tells them what different tools are out there that might make sense for them, blah, 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 and we can help them do it. That being said, little things like what you just mentioned, you build models, right, by using, and I'll use ChatGPT as an example, right? If you're asking its questions, it gets to know you, right? It knows who you are.
That's scary.
Right? It is scary.
But embrace it.
But you can leverage that, right? Where if you are tied up and you want some immediate response to your emails, there's an app for that.
There is an app for that.
And it knows you, and the odds are it's going to respond how you would have.
So interestingly enough, and I don't have that exact application, but it is interesting because I've received that sort of communication, and then there's a reminder. Like I get reminded a couple days later, like, oh, by the way, yeah.
You should follow up on this.
Yeah. Because this is probably good. I don't know. I mean, the yellow pad has been kind of a staple in our.
And see, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think what once again, I'll come back and say there will be employees who know how to use artificial intelligence to do their jobs more efficiently, be faster responding. Hopefully, they'll use it to dig into, identify customer problems, and use AI to help you think of ways to solve their problems. Because they're using it in medical now so much with making diagnosis.
That's crazy. And you're seeing that firsthand in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, and
I'm sure you are.
It's insane. There's no one who could go through the vast amount of data to search for these conditions that this patient's having.
Dr. House could do it.
Right. Well, other than him, I mean, he's got that badass cane too.
Sure,
So,
and what was his addiction? He was eating. What was he eating all day long?
I don't know. It was brain food, clearly. I mean, But so anyhow, I think that there are things for that. I'll give the listeners something if they're interested. There is a great site that you could subscribe to. It's free. It's called There's an AI for that.com.
Okay.
And you fill out kind of your background. It's kind of similar to what we do with a company, but it's kind of an individual. And you can get a daily or weekly, whatever you want, email on what's new in AI, tools-wise, that's applicable to you. Now, it's up to you if you have an interest to learn about them or that kind of thing, but it's a good, free self-education tool that I've found to be pretty effective.
Well, you're a naturally inquisitive guy, just like I am, and so you start to pull back the curtain, and then you want to look and see the next curtain.
It's part of the reason that my youngest son and I started this other company.
Well, I love
I'm
it.
like, wow, I would have done this with that.
It's really, really cool. So listen, hey, interesting, informative, and entertaining. And I'll tell you what, you are all of those things, my friend.
Well,
really,
thank you.
really, really you are. Have anything that you want to say at all? How about Merry Christmas, probably, because a lot of
Merry
people
Christmas, Happy New Year. I hope everyone had just a great Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And it's good to be home here in Florida. Thank you for coming into our home. I wish Amber was here, but she's up helping take care of the baby today up in North Carolina.
Well, we think good vibes for Brooklyn for certain. And thank you all so much for swinging by. Like, subscribe, share. I'm Chris the Wild Bohr, my guest, Eric Seidel. Thank you so much for hopping in. We're out.